I've completed my clone trooper helmet, and I'm going to show you exactly how I did it today on Darth Rage Reviews.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you are not a Jedi yet.
Greetings, Force fans, and welcome to another episode of Darth Rage Reviews, your source for the Force. Guys, if you would, I would love it if you would be so kind as to go ahead and hit that subscription thing over there and the notification bell. Hit the notification bell. It will let you know when I post videos, and I drop videos on the daily. Most times it's multiple videos a day, so you guys do not want to miss out. If you like cosplay, costumes, Star Wars, lightsabers, if you like me in general, you will enjoy the channel. Hit that subscribe. I will wait. All right, now that that's out of the way, guys, happy times. Happy times are here again. I've completed another project. So, many moons ago, I purchased this clone armor back here, which is starting to kind of change and take place. But many moons ago, I purchased that clone armor with the intention of that being the next costume that I would complete. And one of the things I then also purchased is this helmet. This is from Chris, the prop guy. He's out of Australia. This is a resin cast Phase 2 Clone Trooper helmet. So I purchased that as well, and again with the intentions of just jumping right in and getting on this. And then I kind of started researching Clone Trooper armor and realized that I really jumped in kind of to the deep end without really knowing how to doggy paddle even. Clone Trooper is probably notoriously the hardest armor to complete, simply because there are no visible seams anywhere, so you really need to complete everything and make it look like, take two pieces, put them together and make them look like they're one piece. So it required skills that I did not think I had yet. So this kind of went on the back shelf and the back burner, and I started doing other things. I finished the Kylo Ren costume. I finished the Mandalorian costume. Worked on a whole lot of props. Basically, kind of honed my skills to where I thought that I was at a point where I could really start this. And then still, I was not inspired to do it. There's still a lot of new techniques in this that I haven't been involved with. This is going to be the first costume that I've gone for 501st approval with, so I want to make sure that I do everything right on it. So I just didn't, I lacked that motivation to really jump in and get started on this. So then I kind of thought, what was it that motivated me to complete the other costumes? And, honestly, with every costume that I've done, I mean, the Jedi notwithstanding, but every other costume I've done, it was the helmet. The bucket is really kind of what got me inspired to do the rest. With Kylo, I purchased that resin helmet, finished it, and then that inspired me to buy the rest of the costume and the lightsaber. With the Mandalorian, the Din Djarin, got the helmet when I was at Disney, and that inspired me to do the rest of the costume. So I thought, why not do the same thing here, finish this thing, and then that will inspire me to do the rest of the costume. And I think it's going to work, guys. I am super psyched with what I've done here. So what I started at, the point that I started at with this, kind of picks up from some of my old videos, and I'm going to put links in the descriptions to both the helmet videos that I have as well as the Clone Trooper build playlist. I've got a whole playlist that kind of goes into all the pieces, parts of this that I will be adding to. So where I started on this, I'd already kind of hollowed out the eye pieces, the nose pieces. I attempted to remove the face plate, and that to do a removable one didn't work out the way I wanted, so I reattached the faceplate and basically ended up with a plain white, non-finished, sanded prop. And that's kind of where I started here. Where I finished is this, which I'll show you close up here in a minute. But first, I figured, why not take you through the process of how I took just a plain piece of whitish resin and turned it into this beautiful piece for the Republic. So let's take a look. All right, so I start this project off like every project with a good bout of filler primer. This was a resin print, so really didn't need a whole lot of sanding. I had to sand the seam line that kind of went down the center, but I still want to apply filler primer to make sure everything's nice and flat. Then it's Bondo spot glazing putty to cover up all those scratch marks from where I had to sand down, because there was a little bit of sanding I had to do. Also, I go ahead and cover the visor and everywhere that I had to cut out, because when I got the helmet, the visor and the nose pieces were all enclosed there. So I put some on there as well just to smooth that out. Also, a couple little places there were some dimples. Then it's another coat of filler primer just to make sure everything is nice and neat. Some light sanding, very, very light sanding with, I think it was some 400 and maybe a little bit of 800 grit sandpaper after this. Then it was time to start applying color. So the first color that I threw on this one, obviously, it's going to be the white. And, sorry, this is a little bit longer on the filler primer. Then we get to put the color on. So the first color I threw on there was white. It's just a plain old matte white, and I managed to get this whole helmet done with one rattle can, so I was very pleased with that. Went through and did very light coats, and on this I think I did 3, maybe 4 coats on this, and it took about a day and a half, 2 days. Then I taped it off and started doing the coloring, first with the charcoal gray, and that's the band, the earpieces, and the little frown. And then I taped it off again to do the black. So taping is my least favorite part. I could obviously use better tape than this. I knew this was going to be a weathered helmet, and I don't mind going back afterwards and kind of filling in the pieces and straightening up the lines where I need to. So it didn't bother me that I was just using plain old painter's tape. But yeah, this process takes a long time to get done, and I had to do it 3 different times with this helmet. So I'm only going to show it to you once. But yeah, tape the whole thing off, and then the next step is to apply the black, which is the black band across the kind of forehead of the helmet, and then the black piece at the back of it. And again, that's just a semi-gloss black that I use for that, and I think I used 2 coats on that. Then it's the fun time, and you get to see my first mistake on this helmet. Well, the first mistake on the painting of this helmet. So I've got it all taped off to do the 501st blue stripe, and I'm using just a patriotic blue that I found at Lowe's. Loved it, and very excited to get going on it. And I spray half the front and realize, oh no, I forgot to paint it with liquid latex for the weathering. So right there, that's where I realized. So I stop that, wipe some of the paint off, and then I come back and start painting it with the liquid latex to kind of give it that battle damage. So I knew I messed up, but I was able to somewhat fix it. I had to kind of come back later with some white paint and touch that up. But then just as night was falling, I managed to get that blue paint on there, let that dry for a couple hours, and then went ahead and pulled all this paint off, and I got kind of the first view of what the helmet was going to look like. Granted, there were not extremely clean lines on this, and I knew that I had some, patchwork to do and some weathering to do, but this was the first time I really kind of got a view of what this was going to look like completed, and man, it got me really excited. So I got all that tape off, and then I started peeling off the liquid latex, decided to put on some gloves. Yes, Elvis, I do have latex gloves. Just thought it would be easier to remove that latex, and I was right with the gloves on there. So went ahead and got that all off and called it a night. Next day I came back and decided to do the touch-up paint, starting with that charcoal gray. So all I did was I just sprayed some of the spray can paint. I wanted to match it perfectly. I sprayed it onto a plate there that I got taped, and just brushed it on. This is a great way to match the paint. It's also a great way to ruin paintbrushes. So just know that you're not going to be able to reuse these paintbrushes. So I just grabbed some old paintbrushes that I didn't need and did it with that. So I did the charcoal gray at first, cleaned that all up, and it looked really nice. It was very, very simple. And this is kind of zen for me to kind of come through and do this. I really don't mind doing this, and it's part of the process. Then I came in with the blue. It's a semi-gloss patriotic blue. I forget the exact brand, but I just kind of eyeballed it to match the 501st colors. Got a couple cans so I could do the whole unit or the whole armor with it. So came through and touched up all the blue in there. It was fairly simple again. I had to do a little bit of taping off on the front to get this brow done, because it's kind of half white and half blue right below the black line on the brow there. So got that done as well. And again, this whole process probably took me 2 hours to do all of this hand painting. And I just put on a podcast and kind of zoned out and did me some painting. So after the blue, next came, the blue did take a little while. I wanted to make sure that I got it all done. Then the white. So went and touched up some of the places that the paint slipped through, and cleaned up some of the lines. And then also, this is mainly for the chips in the armor that I had not gotten the liquid latex down on, just to make those 100% white and not have kind of a bluish white shining through. So really cleaned those up and made that, that's one of my favorite things about the clones, is none of the clones are clean armor clones. It's like almost out of the line, out the gate, they're dirty. So after the blue, or after the white, it was just some final touch-ups with the black. And then I didn't record it, but I actually went through and did some black blaster marks and things like that on there during the weathering process. I actually don't have that on tape. Also taped off both earpieces, because there's a black ring on the bottom of that charcoal gray on the little ear greeblies there. So took care of that. Then comes the weathering, which is my favorite part. I'm doing this with an acrylic wash, so that is just a very watered down acrylic black paint. You simply paint it over the entire surface and then kind of dye it, drab it off. And you want to do this in multiple layers. You want to make this really kind of look aged, and it looks like an accumulated dirt, and it kind of gets in the crevices and the corners and the creases more, so you want to kind of go a little heavier on that. Also, as part of this process, and I didn't record it, I came back through and dry brushed some dry sienna on the ears to give it that rust. Also, some of the corners and crannies, I brushed in some of that, and also dry brushed in a little black. But really, this is the process in a nutshell. Just a whole lot of weathering to kind of bring that final battle damage look to it. Also some black blaster marks in there, just for good measure. And then when all is said and done, this is what you end up with. Now, my apologies, guys. I did not show the process of actually applying these the slashes on the side here. This was simply a decal that I got with the kit, so there was no special kind of thing in this. I just laid it down and pulled the decal off. So my apologies for that. And I would suggest decals on this over stencils or over trying to hand do it. That's a very difficult little kind of thing to do, and the decal makes it very, very simple. So after all is said and done, this is what you end up with, guys. So it is not actually 100% complete yet. The aerators, the little greebles on the front here, I just have those stuck on because I still need to get some wire mesh for this. And I just, I honestly wanted to shoot this video and not take the time to let these glue and cure for 24 hours. So I do need to glue those on. I also need to glue the face shield in there. I have not hot glued that in either, and I have not clear coat sealed this yet because I'm not 100% sure I'm done with the weathering. I may take it up, take it down a little bit, but again, I'm going for 501st approval here, so I really wanted to kind of stick to the CRL and what it describes the weathering of the helmet like. And so for those of you that are unfamiliar, the CRL is what basically costume requirement list, I think, is what that is. I may be wrong, but that's basically what you base your build on. And it gives you kind of a basic overview of what the costume should look like. But, it doesn't necessarily tell you how to get there. And what it says for the helmet is that, the helmet is, the white, the charcoal gray, and the black. The aerators do have wire mesh, on the aerators. Oh, that's another thing I need to add. Some screening behind the nose here. That's, there's actual screening that's going to be in there. So I've already got it cut. It's just a matter of hot gluing it in there. But then for the weathering, it just says basically it's weathered with various shades of gray and black marks. So I took the photo that's on there and basically tried to match it as much as possible. And I think I really did good. Also, there is rust all along the, outer ears here. That's, specified in the CRL as well. So I wanted to make sure to get that kind of rusty look going down the ears here. So, I said this in my last question and answer video, that typically, my favorite prop tends to be the last prop I work on. And once again, this is by far my favorite prop. I'm just really impressed with kind of how I did all this. I eyeballed, I took basic measurements, for this. I basically measured the points here, the points there, and then the points at the front there, and then just kind of eyeballed it with the tape. And I really think I nailed that 501st stripe. But yeah, super psyched about this. And it does fit. It does fit. I don't have any padding or anything inside of it yet. Again, I'm waiting to get everything finished and clear coated, and then I'll work on the internals. Probably end up mounting some fans in there as well. Maybe a speaker system. I've seen some cool speaker systems online. So all that is way down the line after I get this finished. But it does fit, which is also awesome, because that's the first thing you want to do anytime you get any one of these things done is put it on. So let me give you guys a view. Now, this is a very tight fit. That ring along the bottom, it makes it, if you've got a large head, it makes these things very hard to fit. And most people do detachable versions. Either the back comes off or the front comes off. But I managed to get it to where it would fit my large noggin. So there you have it. For the Republic. I just feel like I want to kill clankers. I mean, I can't help it. Cannot help it. So, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. How did I do with this? Again, this is by far my favorite project so far. I think I nailed it. Very, very pleased with where this is going, and I do believe this will inspire me to get jumping on that. So the next pieces I plan on working on, I'm going to do a little harness system that will attach the neck seal to the shoulder pieces, the shoulder bells, and the shoulder bells will be the next pieces. And I'm going to basically kind of work my way down the arms, chest. The cod piece and the butt and the belt are the ones that I've kind of got the most questions about, so I'll probably wait till last on that. But I'll go for arms, legs, chest, and then work on that center stuff. Guys, this is going to hopefully progress quicker than I feared it would. Once I get started on this stuff, I think that I'll be able to really knock it out quickly, except for those pieces that I've got the intense questions on. But yeah, guys, I'm really excited about this. Let me know, guys, what you think in the comments. How did I do on this? And are you as excited as I am to see this full clone trooper? As always, guys, I am Darth Rage. This is Darth Rage Reviews, your source for the Force.
The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.